taught. You have to smile when you're selling ice cream. You have to love ice cream. And you'd be surprised, trust me. But so we're looking for people that are passionate, because you can't teach that. You can't teach someone to be just down in their heart and their belly excited about their company if that's not something that they felt walking into your business when they dropped off the application or they emailed the application. It's something that you just can't teach. Another thing that we look for is you have to be socially connected. Our social media runs our business, so it's not something that we have time to teach, like, the one-on-ones of Twitter and the one-on-ones of Facebook. But then also saying that we'd like to look at people who already have their own network, because it expands our network as well. So if we have something going on and that we need to get the word out, if our employees can help share that message too, that brings a lot to the table. So we're always not, if we're hiring someone for production, we're always looking at what else that they can bring to the table to help the company, because we have a small staff, people are having to fill multiple roles. So those are the two biggest things for us that we are constantly looking at when bringing new people on.
Okay. And Tommie, again, from the small business perspective, obviously, people aren't going to be able to have like a team of, 80 or 90 people. So who would be sort of the core people, or what advice would you give a small business owner about hiring?
Yeah, so, for example, we have a staff of 12 in terms of the leadership team from a management standpoint. And the advice that I would give you, when you look for people to be on your team, you got to know if you got an A, B, or C player. And you have to understand that it is very critical. If you have all C players, your business will not move. If you're hiring your friends, your business will not move. Because a lot of times where we fall into trap, specifically for, no knock against us as a people, but sometimes we like to say, well, I trust you, but you don't hold them to the same standards as you would walk into a job with. So you have to evaluate them very critically. You have to evaluate your people so critically to the point where it's your business is your success. So having your A, B, and C players. The second thing is, do they have a passion for what they do? When I hire managers inside of my business, I'm looking for a passion around people, because you're going to be around them every day. A passion around customer engagement, because you're going to have to talk to them every day. And a passion around technology, because that is what we do on a single cadence every single day. So when you wrap the body of your culture of your company inside of that, that's what I look for in terms of Dell management. The third piece I would say, you have to look for is also, what skill sets are you missing right now today in your team? Are you missing diversity of thought? Are you missing a particular skill set that you need? Going back to Felicia's point, her husband is in finance. That is a very important skill set that you got to have for any business. If you're not good at it, so what? Go find somebody that's smart and go hire them for it. There is nothing wrong with having gaps. What's wrong is when you don't address the gap that you have in your business, because as a business leader, you have to go hire for your need, and it's critical that you drive that. So I always look for industries that parallel to what I need. GE is notorious for having very smart finance people. For instance, Ford is notorious for having very process-oriented people, General Motors, things like that. The one place that I draw a lot of successful sales reps from, believe it or not, off the side of the management team, is the restaurant industry. Because the restaurant industry is very ambiguous. You have to have a high tolerance for engagement of customers, and you have to deliver a high quality of customer experience every time. And we have a very successful turnover rate with people who come from the restaurant industry and convert them into sales. So I always look at those three categories. It's really around the ABC players. The second component is more around the passion. And then the third piece is more around what skills are you deficient in. If you do that, your business will be very successful.
And I think that's been a common theme throughout the conference, where a lot of the speakers have talked about hiring someone who either, smarter than themselves, or someone who has those skill sets that they're lacking. So I think that has been, again, reiterated throughout this conference. One of the things I want to talk about in terms of competition, because that's big for any company, but particularly when you're talking about a mobile business, and I think you had mentioned this a little bit in terms of just fighting for that real estate, for that space, or someone coming in and saying, this is my location. So how do you stay ahead of the competition? What are some of your strategies or advice you could share in that area?
I would say definitely creating a loyal following with your current customer base. For us, when we first started, our product is similar to Mexican paletas, and we're in South Florida, and we're black. So it was like, you know, we had major competition, but they weren't doing it exactly like we were doing because they didn't necessarily have the mobile component, and they didn't provide the service for the events that we did. But product to product, we did have major competition that we were going into. But you know, it was a lot of conversations that I would have with my brother and just talking about, you have to focus on the customers that you do have and make sure that you are servicing them to the best of your ability, because when you do that, they will be your biggest cheerleader and your biggest fan. And when something new comes along, because a lot of people like to jump ship, when something new comes along, they're not going to go anywhere. They will stay there and they will fight for your business and they will love it. When something else comes up, they're the first one on the internet. Oh, that truck sucks, or that product sucks. But, you know, Feverish ice cream is the way to go. But it's you know, you do have to work on that. And a lot of the things that we do, you know, we are always tapping into our customers on social media. Hey, help us come up with a new flavor. Or, you know, what do you think about this new flavor that we came up with? Or we'll have a group that comes in and, you know, once a month, and they will be taste testers for us for our new product. And those things build loyalty. Those people feel engaged and a part of our business. You know, I have a client that she moved to LA, and she still tweets about us. And she's like, she is the biggest, you know, our biggest fan. And those are the people that you need to, that's an ideal customer. And that's what you really need to build. And then when you do have the competition, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's still a problem. But, you know, one thing about the new competition that we have, because Gourmet Popsicles is a new trend. Like, you're going to start seeing it all over the place. Little carts are starting to pop up all over the place. And it kind of makes you work harder, knowing that you have new competition and that you have competition. So you want to make sure, and I always tell my husband, like, all right, this new truck just popped, and the new popsicle truck just popped up. All right, we need to make sure that we are doing X, Y, and Z 100%, because that way our customers won't leave.
I think that our competition, gosh, there's so many trucks in LA that it's even hard to keep track of really what's going on. We focus on us. We're aware of our competition, but we focus on skies. And we haven't really, I think, an upper hand in that our truck is designed where you can see the person preparing your food. Now, when you can see a person preparing your food, there's confidence. I don't care what anyone says. Our restaurant is also designed, open kitchen. You can see us. That is important. You can see in the truck, they're washing their hands, what's going on, how food is handled, if it's handled respectfully with reverence as food should be handled. So this is what keeps us, we have to keep on our game, you know, keep on that A game to stay competitive. And of course we watch what other competitors are doing, but we most of all have to, again, stay on our game and watch us, because there's enough to watch.
Yeah, from a Dell perspective, you guys can imagine the IT market is very competitive. You have major players. I mean, guys, it's just because I work with Dell, it's no different of the experiences that we look at the same thing. We focus a lot on IT solutions. It's not about the box anymore. The box is the easy sell. It's just like going to a car lot and picking out what color car you want. But it's really about solving the problems of a small business entrepreneur and helping and demonstrating to them how technology can deliver benefits and efficiencies to you. I don't know how many of you went to the Dell Digital Lounge, and we're featuring Clean Dog, which is a makeover that we did with a small business entrepreneur. And my team actually built out the solution and worked with the customer. But so that's what we're focused on. One, leveraging our IT expertise. Two, solving problems for small business owners. And then the third component is really around that customer experience. I really want to hit on the fact of what Felicia's talking about, these raving fans. It's interesting she says that. We have a process, believe it or not, big Dell, big company. We have a process called raving fans. Every staff meeting I start with starts with a customer story of who we've helped last week and going into the following week. Our VP starts every meeting with a customer story. It goes all the way up the food chain, and that's the type of environment we want our people to be in. You don't want to be a mercenary for the customer. You really want your customers to start getting excited about doing business with you, wanting to come find you, doing the work to come search you, and give you a recommendation. So I'll give you one example. I had a customer who had the most worst experience with Dell. I gave the customer my cell phone number, and lo and behold, probably the biggest mistake you ever made. And I told the customer, you can call me anytime you want. And man, what did I sign up for? Holding my daughter in one hand, Mr. McFerren, it's 9 o'clock at night. Can I talk to you? I just got a couple of things I want to bounce off of you. That customer today has given me not only one sale, but that customer has given me multiple sales that I funnel back to my sales team. I can tell you that customer today is probably that customer was worth $1,500, and that customer turned in $50,000 just with the recommendations that they've done. So, you know, when you think about that component, that's how you build, you know, your raving fans, your expertise, and everything else. Your customers are going to be your lifeline. If you treat them bad, guaranteed they're going to treat you bad.
They'll yelp about you.
They'll yelp, they'll Facebook. And you know, the one thing I always make sure of as a regional sales director, I interact with so many customers, I have to make sure that I live by the same creed as any small business owner. If a customer calls me, I got to call them back. There's a rule, right? If you're putting yourself out there for a certain experience, you need to reciprocate that experience so that that customer feels that connection. And you'll be amazed, your customers say, I feel connected to you, and as a result, they feel connected to your company.
And I'm just curious, I didn't ask this in the beginning, how many of you out there have actually thought about a food truck or some type of mobile business? So we have a couple people.
And you don't necessarily have to sell food in order to, you know, be in a food truck or own a mobile business. Like there's Cookie Mob in New York. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but the guys started a t-shirt company, an apparel company that they run out of a really cool food truck.